Clive and Elliot, you are both going to Lisbon, aren't you?
Yeah, we're going. And last time we went to a European away game, it was Porto away. And it's all going well until we stuck in the top corner. So I'm hoping it's going to be a bit better this time. Again, it's just, our away record in Champions League is not great, if we're honest. And it's one of the things that we need to fix. And as people move towards the January transfer window in their minds, I'm thinking about the away scoring ability in open play. That's what I'm thinking about. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, the manager's moved on, so it'll be a new era for them. And I can't tell you what they're going to do, what the system's going to be. I know what they used to do. They used to play a 3 at the back. They used to have 2 10s behind Gyökeres, and they've got a great central midfielder, and central defender, Diamande, very strong, Saliba-like. So I know they're players because we like a few of them, So it'd be interesting to see what they do on the day. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm hopeful we can come away with something.
From what I understand, they have employed sort of a man-to-man marking system, sort of a middle press man-to-man, but that it can be exploited going long and going over it at times. And we happen to be doing more of that as it is. So that could play into a strength of something that's in our game, which would be great. Obviously, Victor Gyökeres is going to be someone everyone's having a good look at because he's all the talk right now in terms of the striker market in the Premier League. So he'll have a point to prove. He's obviously played in England, and I think he'll want to remind everybody how good he is. For us, I'm with Clive. That night in Porto was a lot of fun. The game, the less said about it, the better. And one of the things Clive knows from sitting next to me for a few games now is I kick every ball. I observe every pass that we're not making, right? You'd be surprised to hear how neurotic I am during a match day. But I was really taken aback that day at how conservative we were, how careful we were. And I think in Europe in particular, you've seen a very careful and conservative Arsenal. And I think it's time for us to break out of that shell a little bit and look like we belong on that stage, like we've arrived, and play a little more front-footed, be a little more adventurous, not wait for the game to come to us.
I agree with that point, but I think even in 1 year, Elliot, it's a new competition now.
Yes.
So that was a group phase competition where you're going away, you get a point, it's actually okay. Now we're in a much bigger league situation, and we need to make sure we're finishing top 8 to reduce our games. And so it will be interesting to see what our approach is. Your point's absolutely right. I haven't got a recent good memory of an away game. Probably Sevilla away was the last one, where we've really got out and imposed ourselves in an offensive way. And so I'm really looking forward. I'm hoping we can do that. It's important.
It was even the same to when Bayern. I remember going over there for the Bayern Munich game last year and doing the commentary, and Arsenal just didn't show up. They didn't believe that they could really hurt this Bayern Munich side. And I think that's one thing I'd like to see from Arsenal this season. I thought they played well against Inter, but still, at never any stage, I think they were really going to go and score. I thought they played well. The general play was really good. And I think there are times when, and as Clive was saying there, just someone to step up and can they get a goal away from home and make that away trip in Europe a little bit more comfortable. Now, Sporting were brilliant against Manchester City and they won 4-1. I think did it finish 4-1?
So, yeah.
But Manchester City had chances, by the way. I mean, we look at the result and you go, they battered Manchester City. For the first 15, 20 minutes, Manchester City could have been 4-5 up in that period. So, yes, Gyökeres will be a threat, and he is the talk of the town at the minute, but I think with Saliba and Gabriel, there's more than enough there to deal with them because you're talking about one focal point and that's it. And they've been really good at kind of dealing with that one centre forward. But again, I want to see Arsenal go over there and really put a stamp on the game and kind of send a message around Europe. A little bit like Villa did with Bayern at home. It was almost like, okay, they've arrived. I want to see Arsenal do the same thing.
So, Clive, when you sit next to Elliot, is it like sitting next to live running commentary the whole time?
It's very much like this show. I think, but I'm used to it. But on Gyökeres, it will be to see what he's like. So we've all YouTubed him, and we all thought, he does quite good. But when you see him running against our athletes and see what he does, because when he played against City, they had a couple of young defenders back there, and he bullied them for a few minutes, right? But I don't think we're bullying R2, but let's see, right? If he does, let's get him, because they are, that means he's at the right levels. I'm really interested to watch him play.
So, and obviously, after defeat in Milan, how important is a win?
Well, I mean, it is very important. Candidly, I think we can draw that game and be okay because of the fixtures we have remaining. I think we have Zagreb at home, Monaco at home, and Girona away, which are games we can navigate. Ultimately, if you're not in the top 8, it means you have an extra round, but it doesn't mean you're out. So I'm sure everybody's sick of Arsenal fans saying, well, we don't have to win this game. We don't have to win this game. Like, everybody wants us to draw a line under a game and call it a must-win.
Self-defense mechanism. Let us do it.
Self-protection, yeah. I think it's important from the standpoint of Clive's point of showing we can go away and win in Europe, because ultimately the goal isn't to progress in the Champions League, as crazy as it sounds. The goal is to win the Champions League. And I don't think you can have that as a goal if you just don't have the tools in your toolbox to go win away in Europe. So I would like to see us do that. I think to Darren's point, like, there are two Arsenals. Both are always organized and consistent. I have never seen an Arsenal under Mikel Arteta in the last couple seasons look totally out of sorts and out of shape. We're always organized. But the really good Arsenal adds to that organization cutting edge and threat and urgency to get the ball into the box and create chances. And away in Europe, that piece has felt like it's missing, like it did in Germany. So let's go to Sporting and let's not just be organized and controlled. Let's go add that extra layer of threat and show that we can bring that to an away match.
So with Amorim no longer in charge, surely that is an advantage to Arsenal?
Yeah, it could be, but also as well on the flip side, the Sporting Lisbon players are probably going to be, let's show it's not all about the manager, because that's all the talk's been for the last 4 weeks about the manager going to Manchester United. He's fantastic, he's the best manager in the world, all this type of talk. But the fact that now, if you're a Sporting Lisbon player there now, you're almost like, well, let's just show it weren't just about the manager. But again, it'd be interesting to see what Gyökeres does without the manager, because I almost feel like that system was based not solely around him, but it got the best out of him. Having two number 10s behind him, the crosses they give, getting in the box, getting the ball in behind early for him. If it's the same tactics, that will be interesting, but it will be interesting to see if they have got that same kind of cutting edge threat without Amorim being there. So it will be a little bit of an unknown, but Arsenal going to have to deal with that.
Moving on now, from Sporting Lisbon to a sporting director, Arsenal's hunt for one continues, and this week we've been linked with Luis Campos, who is currently at PSG and is seen as an elite talent spotter. So Clive, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, this is an interesting moment in our recent history. I really feel this. Maybe I'm over-egging it, but I think it's almost like a referendum of where we want to go and what next, ambition-wise. And I don't just mean get a sporting director because he can get signings. I think if I look at the group, the coaches, the executives, what type of individual do they want there? What's he going to bring? So is he going to bring a network? Is he going to bring organisational skills? Is he going to help us maybe change our model going forward to be a bit more ambitious, to be maybe incorporate other clubs into our group? It's going to be so interesting to see what we do. I have this inkling for somebody a little bit older. I don't know why. I used the word gravitas from previous discussions.
How old is he, do you know?
Well, I think the Arsenal coaching team, and they're quite young. You know, the CEO's quite young. There's a little bit of experience in the group. Wouldn't be the worst thing for me. I'm not saying that people lack experience, but someone who can bring a different breadth of experience could be quite good. That's how you grow. That's how you expand. That's how you develop. If you're developing somebody, what are you missing out on? You know, in the world of football, which is always fast-moving, always changing. So I'm conscious you need to build careers in the club and promote people at the right times, but there is a time for an external hire, and I think this is one. And my personal opinion is somebody with broad experience that repositions Arsenal in the European game, in the transfer market, as a serious player, that people look at us as a serious club. I think it's a really important hire.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.